We will learn about lower triangular matrix, super lower triangular matrix in this particular class. Okay. So what is super lower triangular matrix? Have a look. So this is the definition. Okay, this is the underlined definition. This is mathematical definition. So a square matrix A equal to Aij is called super lower triangular matrix IFF if. IFF means if and only if Aij is equal to 0 for all. This symbol is for all I smaller than equal to j. Okay. Now have a look. For these elements, this element, this element, this element, this element, this element, and this element, these are the corresponding characters. So A11. Okay, so let me mark it with color. So actually, this A11 corresponds to this. Okay, then this A12 corresponds to this. Okay, then this A13 corresponds to this. Okay, then this corresponds to A22. Okay, then A23. So this corresponds to A23. Okay, got it. And I don't have much more colors, so I will mark it with green itself. So this is the thing. Now have a look over here. A11, does it satisfy this condition? Okay, Aij, I equal to j for these elements. Okay, for A11, A22 and A33 are diagonal elements. A11, A22 and A33 are diagonal elements, and for diagonal elements I is equal to j. So I is equal to j is also covered in this. Okay, so the meaning of this symbol, is that the meaning of this particular symbol is that I is equal to j is also allowed. I is equal to j is also allowed, and I greater than j is also allowed. Not greater than j, smaller than j. I am really sorry. Okay, I smaller than j is also allowed. Okay, so I smaller than j is also allowed. So this is the meaning of this particular symbol. Okay, smaller than equal to j means equal to is also allowed, and smaller to I smaller than j is also allowed. Now for this element, this element, this element, this element, this element, and this element, these 6 elements. Okay, for these 6 elements, they satisfy this condition. I is smaller than equal to j, because at the diagonals, they are equal. So equality holds. Okay, and in these elements, I is smaller than j. For this, I is smaller than j. For this also, I is smaller than j. For this also, I is smaller than j. Okay, so those elements are also 0. So Aij is equal to 0 for all the elements satisfying this condition, and these colored elements satisfy this particular condition. As these colored elements satisfy this particular condition, they are these forms. This is how a super lower triangular matrix is formed, because one is smaller than 2, so I is smaller than j. One is smaller than 3, I is smaller than j. One is smaller than 2 is smaller than 3, so I is smaller than j. A11 I is equal to j, A22 I is equal to j, A33 I is equal to j. Okay, so for these it is smaller, and for these it is equal. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, now if you want to make the definition in words, if we want to write the definition in words, we can write that all the elements above the principal diagonal are 0, as well as on the principal diagonal are 0. Okay, all the elements, a super lower triangular matrix is such a matrix in which all the diagonal elements are 0, and along with that all the elements above the principal diagonal are also 0. Okay, elements on the principal diagonal are also 0, and elements above the principal diagonal are also 0. Such a matrix is called as super lower triangular matrix. Now why is it being called like that? Let me give you the reason. Because a triangle of numbers is being formed at the lower side. A triangle of numbers is being formed at the lower side of the matrix. That is why it is called as super lower triangular matrix. Okay, and why super? Super because even the diagonal elements are 0. That's why super lower triangular matrix. In lower triangular matrix, diagonal elements are not 0. Okay, in lower triangular matrix, diagonal elements are not 0. But in super lower triangular matrix, diagonal elements are also 0. Okay, in lower triangular matrix, diagonal elements are not 0. But in super lower triangular matrix, diagonal elements are also 0. So this is the thing. Okay. Now let us have a look at these two nodes. Okay, 1 and 2. A null matrix is both super upper and super lower triangular matrix. So it is saying that a null matrix is both. It is also a super upper triangular matrix and it is also super lower triangular matrix. So how is a null matrix both super upper lower triangular matrix and super lower triangular matrix? How is that possible? So have a look. Okay. So in this particular figure, this element corresponds to a11, this element corresponds to a12, and so on and so forth. Okay, 1:1 correspondence is there between the elements. Now have a look. These elements, let me mark it with brown color. These elements, okay, these elements satisfy the condition I is smaller than equal to j. These elements satisfy this condition I is smaller than or equal to j. These elements are satisfying this condition, and these elements, okay, these elements, okay, these elements are satisfying which condition? These elements are satisfying the condition I is greater than equal to j. Okay, so this green colored marked, okay, the elements marked with green color satisfy I greater than equal to j condition, and elements marked with brown color satisfy I smaller than equal to j condition. Okay, so you can have a look that these elements, okay, these brown colored elements, these are the brown colored elements, okay, and these are the green colored elements, these are the green colored elements. Okay, so a null matrix is both super upper triangular matrix also and super lower triangular matrix also. So a null matrix is both. How is it both? Because elements satisfying this condition are also 0, and elements satisfying this condition are also 0. Okay, so this condition, this particular condition is for lower triangular matrix. Okay, this particular condition, this brown condition is for super lower triangular matrix. Okay, this brown condition is for super lower triangular matrix. Okay, and this green condition is for super upper triangular. Okay, upper triangular matrices. Okay, so a null matrix is satisfying both the condition. It is also satisfying the condition of super upper triangular matrix, and it is also satisfying the condition of super lower triangular matrix. So a null matrix is satisfying both the condition. That's why a null matrix is both super upper triangular matrix also and super lower triangular matrix also. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, okay. Now have a look at this second statement. Null matrix or zero matrix is not necessarily a square matrix. This is very important thing. Okay, a null matrix or zero matrix is not necessarily a square matrix. So some people confuse this a lot. Okay, so it may be a square matrix like this 2 cross 2, and a null matrix can also be non-square. Okay, a null matrix can also be non-square matrix, which is not a square matrix. So over here 2 rows are there and 3 columns are there. So clearly it is not a square matrix because 2 rows are there and 3 columns are there. Okay, but over here 2 rows are there, 2 columns are there. So this is a square matrix, but this is not a square matrix. Okay, so a null matrix need not be a square matrix. Similarly, this type of null matrix might also be there. This type of null matrix might also be there. This is 3 cross 2 null matrix. 3 rows are there, 2 columns are there. Okay, 3 rows are there, 1, 2, 3 rows and 2 columns, 1, 2 columns. Okay, so this is the thing. So null matrix or zero matrix is not necessarily a square matrix. This is the fact which you must remember. Okay, so thank you very much. Hopefully you got the thing, and I have already also told you that a null matrix, why a null matrix is both a super upper triangular matrix also and a super lower triangular matrix also. Okay, so null matrix is both super upper triangular matrix also and super lower triangular matrix also. So thank you very much.